so many working Americans. I want to ask you now about some other issues, and some candidates support these issues. Some DSA candidates, I know Mayor Mamdani does not support some of these issues. I'm going to ask you where you stand on defunding the police, abolishing prisons, and opening up the border again. Do you support any of those propositions?
So what I support is making sure that we have law and order in this country. And that starts with making sure there's a full release of the Epstein files and that we hold people accountable. It also is making sure that we have accountability for ICE officials who have murdered and slaughtered people in our streets on camera who,
right.
who unfortunately have not been held accountable and actually have been hidden, honestly. And so those are the types of things that I support. And I want to be clear, I am a union member. I recently joined the Working Families Party. I also just recently joined DSA because there were some things, the majority of things that I'm supportive of. But just like I'm a Democrat, there are some things that I do not fully support within the Democratic Party, particularly those corporate Democrats, right? I don't accept corporate PAC money, and I want to make sure that these billionaires pay what they owe. And so there are going to be a few differences here and there, but overwhelmingly, what I care about and support are what everyday Floridians care about and support, which is making sure that housing is a right and people have a place to put their heads at night.
Yeah. So you don't support defunding the police?
No, I don't support defunding the police. I do support comprehensive criminal justice reform to make sure we are addressing some of the root causes of people leading into a life of crime.
What up? What up? What up?
That's my girl. I love her. I love her. She has the best media training. Let's get some of these candidates to represent DSA instead of the white people from national that keep going on Fox News to say hyperbolic statements that scare people.
I like the way Floridian accent says the Epstein files.
Yes.
It flows off the tongue so nicely. I guess maybe it's because Epstein is his home base was in Palm Beach, so it's like maybe that's why it slips off the tongue so well. They're like, oh, this Epstein, he's planted his way into our collective mind, and now we need to destroy him by destroy the memory of him, excise him from American life.
Yeah, I feel bad for anyone with the last name Epstein. There's this one stand-up comedian who's like, my name is Jeffrey Epstein.
Have you ever seen?
Like, I'm like, oh, how terrible for you, my friend.
I was just thinking about this because I don't know. I saw the name somewhere. Israel Epstein.
Oh,
he moved to China. He moved to China, and he was a Chinese journalist, but he was originally a Polish Jewish guy, obviously. But it's so funny to have the name.
Ooh, the member of the Chinese Communist Party. Cool. He's one of the good Epsteins.
Yeah,
if there is such a thing.
I don't. I feel like it's almost more insidious because it's like like whether you're like technically like a communist society or a capitalist society. I have heard about Palm Beach Pete, who just came in. That guy was fucking weird.
PvP.
I was
confused with PBD.
There was like a see Juan Epstein. See, Stevie said it. There's an Epstein in every
welcome back, Connor.
Every society has a
show.
where it's all over the place. Every era, right? Like maybe it's a time traveler thing. Maybe we have time traveling Epsteins. You know what I mean? They're in every era. You go back to like the Neolithic age with cavemen, and there's just there's Cave Epstein, and he's he hits young women over the head with the with his club.
Yeah, there you go. Oh God, what was that? What was that one movie from the 80s? I think it was like Searching for Fire or whatever. Ray Don Chong was in it. A few others were in it, and I'm like, there's just so many rape scenes in the movie. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Well, yeah, maybe that's another episode. It's another Epstein thing.
Yeah.
No, I like the idea of like every time it's almost like the Dalai Lama, you know, like the Dalai Lama, you know, like one Dalai Lama dies and then they like imbue a child with the spirit of the next Dalai Lama, but it's Epstein. So like Epstein died, and that's why there's that like guy.
Oh God. Yeah.
Spirit must be kept alive, and at some point they like they flourish into a full blown Epstein, and then like the FBI has to like raid their house and take them in, and then the whole cycle just starts over and over again.
Yeah, I saw a video. I think it was about like Abdul's mother, about like, oh, you know, she worked for like the Taliban or whatever. Everyone's like, oh, she worked, you know, for the CIA. She was CIA trained, like Bin Laden was, or something like that. I was like, I got him.
Oh, I also saw this one that was on speaking of Angie Nixon, your new favorite congressional candidate or Senate candidate.
Yeah. Well, we don't need Michigan apparently, so we all hands on deck for Florida. Am I right?
Hey, that definitely goes to like Chuck Schumer's my purpose is to keep the left pro-Israel, that thing. Like,
yeah. But like, what happens if it's just a 50-51? Like, I'm like, we need like at least 53 so that Vance and Fetterman's votes don't fucking count. So yes, we need Michigan, we need Florida, we need whatever important Senate races we can get. Like, it's hard for Democrats to get the Senate enough as it is. Why are we saying we don't need a swing state?
But this is Andy Nixon talking about Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and how
her answer about Sam Piker was really good too. She's like, I don't know him.
Yeah. Is that like the what is it, Mariah Carey version? I don't know him. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my god, finally someone
definitely did know her, and I don't think Andy Nixon.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just so glad. I'm like, oh god, you know, they're trying to make her tied to Hassan. She's like, I don't really care. Even Hassan's like, if she hasn't reached out to me, don't matter. Good for her for, you know, pointing that out. Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. And I do not think she should campaign with Hassan. I think that would be in Florida, at least, that would be
even he said,
but
even he was like, you know, she did this well without me. She could do even better without me now, you know? So, you know, that's important to, you know, point out. But there's no other happening among any of the Florida primaries.
The second you say, like, I don't know, like, I really do think socialism, I'm not saying it's a complete non-starter. I mean, she's running, but I think it's a real, like, it's an issue that you have to like really thread the needle on if you're going to.
Also, I think what helped her is not just going but AIPAC about everything, you know,
yeah,
considering, you know, it's Florida.
But it would be very funny if like, you know, a DSA member, like a black woman DSA member, replaced Marco Rubio in the Senate. Like, that would be that'd be extremely funny to me.
Yeah.
See, this is not just a big issue for me. It's a big issue for Floridians and Americans everywhere. Medical debt is the leading cause of bankruptcy right now in our country. So think about it. People are literally going bankrupt simply because they're trying to stay alive. And so what we heard and we're witnessing right now is the fact that there are corporate established Democrats who are now beholden to these corporations that are making it harder for people to have access to quality health care. They're actually denying claims because they don't want to pay them out because it's going to impact their bottom line. I don't care about corporations' bottom lines. I care about people. The needs of the people need to be met. That is my first priority. And we definitely would have to assess whether or not we need to keep these folks in leadership. But right now, according to the American people, they don't feel that way, that they should be in leadership. And I'm on the same side right now, especially hearing this recently.
Also, she was one of the first to call for like a ceasefire right after October 7th. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, she's that chick doing, you know, that was doing all those, like, you know, Black Lives Matter things in her in her county, like during the meetings and hearings and all that. She was out there doing these like little protests when people would try to shut her down. So I'm like, now I remember who she is. She was causing a bit of a ruckus right after October 7th, and rightfully so.
Yeah. I like that line though where she says, I don't care about corporations' bottom lines, I care about people. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good message. Of course, still like the long shot of all long shots in Florida. It's just, I don't know. I'm just not I'm not feeling bullish on Florida right now, and
Well,
the chances of any kind of really
we all
any
gotta
like
try.
any Democrat winning in Florida, which is crazy because like even in 2018 it was like, you know, they still had a chance to elect like Andrew Gillum, and I don't know why it was just accepted kind of at the time, like this is our last stand in the state. But
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy that, you know, we just kind of gave up, and then Andrew Gillum just kind of went downhill from there, even more so recently.
Yeah, he's both gay, and like I said, he's black, gay, and a meth head, and I feel like you just feel like you can't be all.
But it's Florida. That he's the very definition of a Florida man.
Well, actually, I think a Republican, I think a black gay Republican meth head could still pull it off. I think Republicans would be more accepting of that.
Isn't Byron what's his face gonna be? Never mind.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like somehow you would get like you'd get that guy, and then he could give Republicans like the smallest like well, now I found Jesus thing, and they'd be like he's a change. He might be a meth head, but he's a changed man. He accepted Jesus Christ into his heart and Donald Trump. And
I just keep thinking Rob Ford, you know, crack. Did he die?
Remember?
He died.
He died.
Yeah. And also his brother was like the complete opposite of him.
His death had nothing. His death was I'm pretty sure his death was like cancer. It didn't have anything to do with the crack. So he could have smoked all the crack he wanted. He was I think he had like brain cancer. But do you ever see the clip of Rob Ford eating the bee?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was like,
he opens his mouth. He goes, "You just flew in there."
It's so funny. I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell's happening?"
Because then his brother is still like a powerful politician. There's like 3 of them, I think. There's like 3 Ford brothers. There's always I've noticed that like when there's like 2 brothers in power, like somehow there's always
and there's like the third one that's like kind of like the failed one.
Yeah, there's always for some reason like a third
They're
one.
They're like the Canadian Kennedys.
I don't know. I don't know how that's
attractive.
Yeah, well, but you know, all 3 of the Kennedys made it into like
office or something. Yeah, especially Ted. Ted's the one who got it. Who, in my opinion, just imagine if it could have been JFK, RFK, and then Ted, and none of this would have happened. We wouldn't be here. You know, it would be luxury gay space communism in a weird way.
Yeah. Well, a weird part of the Ted Kennedy campaign. I mean, of course, besides
he was also like Medicare. He was very much early on Medicare for all. Like he would people forget how progressive he really was.
Well, like he was the liberal standard bearer in a party that had like elected Jimmy Carter and you know was pushing further towards deregulation and stuff. But there was like these moments. I mean, Chappaquiddick obviously was the big thing that kind of tanked him. Like forever, right? Like everyone's like, you can't just, you know, like
they're like, but remember when he eulogized his brother Bobby? That was a good speech.
But they asked him, a big part of his complete like his failure in the end to defeat Carter, like unseat him. They asked him why he wanted to be president, and it took him like 35 seconds to answer.
He's like
his brain just gave out.
You could have said, just want to, you know, solidify my family's legacy, do what my brothers couldn't do. It's really that simple. You could have just said, you know, continue on what my brothers couldn't. Come on, Ted, R.I.P. But like that's an easy answer. You're Kennedy. You could have come up with something about continue on what your brothers couldn't. But
wait, I wanted to. This is. I saw you shared this too earlier.
How the hell is what's with these Kennedy grandkids looking pretty fine? I mean, like, but also Taylor Swift dated him.
I didn't know that until I just saw that. But it put on Russia's most wanted list, charged with acting as a mercenary for Ukraine. I'm surprised that's the.
He's vaccinated too.
But I'm just surprised that's the side he picked. I would 100%. Expected RFK Jr.'s son to be put on like the Ukraine's most wanted list.
I feel like his kids kind of don't really. I mean, the daughter seems kind of close to him because she's the one who was telling all those wild stories about the whale, whatever, on top of the all the weird stuff.
Would be the daughter,
and then Connor's like, whatever, you know, like Connor seems like the normal one.
Yeah, but I just feel like the real way to like have RFK Jr.'s legacy be honored is to have, for some reason, just for some crazy reason, his son to be like a mercenary for Russia in Ukraine.
Yeah,
like, I really that's the best way to honor RFK Jr.'s contributions to our society so far.
Yeah, it's
to have
crazy.
Have Zelensky like put him on a list to be like, we must get this guy out of here, and then that's my Zelensky voice. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh wait. LBJ could have been ranked among the greats if he didn't accelerate Vietnam. But I feel like there's lots of progressives that would say Biden could have been great if he didn't do Gaza. You know what I mean? Like,
well, another thing too about like LBJ and all that is, we're seeing like, oh, if you're you hate black people if you don't support data centers. Someone's like, oh yeah, it's like, let's not support LBJ, the racist, who also gave us like what, Medicaid and all that shit too. Like, come on, like.
What do you think LBJ would say about data centers? I think he would like that.
I think best LBJ impression.
Well, no, because there's a he worked for Kellogg, Brown and Root, like that was his like main KBR was like his main benefactor, and I feel like they would be 100% behind the push for data centers, and you could have like and so all of a sudden LBJ would be like really pro data center. Like, we're bringing jobs back. We're bringing jobs back to America, and it's just jobs in data centers.
And shows your dick, like that's what he did. But another thing too, LBJ, like a lot of people are like, what is the best way to describe like boomer liberals who they don't understand like the language, but they mean well. Like LBJ, he would be like, I'm pro T-slur, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he would be like a lot of people are like, I don't understand it, but I support it. And I'm like, yeah, that's an LBJ thing. Like you've seen like what people post, like how to explain like what my grandmother would support this or whatever, and it sounded like something like that LBJ would sound like, yeah, it would sound kind of offensive, but they mean well at the same time because they don't understand it.
He might have ruined his legacy by being really into data centers.
How do you think LBJ? You would have loved data centers if we were assuming. I don't know.
I feel like he would have to say it in a weird way. He just have to say like data centers. We're all about data centers right now.
That Vietnam.
And we're gonna build data centers from
in Vietnam.
No, he's like, we're gonna build data centers from my he's like from my penis to my bunghole.
Yeah. Oh, he loved going skinny dipping too.
Somebody put on this there's this video that I saw. I was trying to think of the guy's name yesterday. It's Jason Pargin, like the guy that makes those TikTok videos that he like discusses a bunch of stuff. That like a lot of like cultural stuff, but he was talking about he had like something up that was like when people were talking about like fitting a suit, they're like do you hang right or hang left? They're talking about like talking about a guy's like bulge and like to try to fit the suit perfectly. But then like underneath this video, everyone was sharing the LBJ that LBJ getting a suit fitted thing where he's talking about his bunghole.
Yeah. Anyway, can you believe there's gonna be a baby boom in New York City because Mom Donnie's letting parents fuck without their kids around?
They were. I was trying to think of like how you would slander Mom Donnie for that, and I think you have
pro-life. What? Oh wait.
No, you'd have to find like the one person that committed a crime during that time period. Maybe not even someone who actually had like kids that took that program, because it was like only like I think it was like a few hundred families. It was like a trial program. So you'd have to find someone that like you could like tangentially relate to that program that like did something like vandalize a car. And you put that in the paper and be like, Mom Donnie's new, his program to give parents a night off.
Because my mom was like, how is he gonna do that? I'm like, Mom, there's legitimate like service, like babysitting services and activities that they can have the kids do. I'm like, Mom, there's so much in the budget now that he found that he could do all these cool things. Because like my sister's like, well, yeah, you love Mondani, but like I saw, a homeless woman, tweaking in the Bronx. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I got, I'm like, my sister has this idea that I think in absolutes for some reason, and that I think everything's perfect. I'm like, no, I hear from people all the time, like, yeah, Mom Donnie's doing so many good things. However, there's still a lot of issues in the 5 boroughs that he could definitely, fix or whatever, that he's working on or whatever. He just got here.
I was just in the Bronx.
You act like I don't cover politics for a living, sis.
I just spent the weekend in the Bronx.
See?
It wasn't it wasn't that bad. I was right near the Mitchell houses. I was staying at, my friend rented like a hotel so we could go to this music thing, like a room at like a really crappy like motel kind of, and it was
not a Howard Johnson, right?
No, but Lyndon Johnson. No, but and we were right like across from like the Mitchell housing, like the 60s like 70s project housing. Yeah. And so I walked past there, and then I was texting Dan, and he was like, "Oh, you meet like you want to meet in Harlem? like on 125th Street at the only place you could think of to meet up with was like a Shake Shack in Harlem. So I walked through Harlem.
But like, what, really? Not like an authentic restaurant that
Nope.
Come on, Dan. Even I would have been like, hey, let's go to this local pizzeria. For God's sakes, a Shake Shack. I could go to Shake Shack right now.
So I took the subway one stop, and I went from the like a random ass place in the Bronx where I was to Harlem, and was walking through Harlem. It was a nice day though, and it was yeah. I feel like
there's also a lot more free stuff to do in New York City. Like my sister went to the city like the other day or last week or whatever. She's like, wow, there's so much, free stuff to do. I'm like, yeah, believe it or not, there is.
I feel like they left, like I feel like they started gentrifying Harlem like really heavily, like in like the 90s and the early 2000s, but then they left it half gentrified, which is like the most bizarre situation. I feel like they fully gentrified parts of Brooklyn, like the parts of Brooklyn that I was born in and stuff like that, and like big parts of Brooklyn are just fully gentrified. I feel like Harlem, they left a lot of the
borough.
The cultural stuff side by side with like the level of gentrification that's there. So it's like Harlem just feels like it's like a half finished testament to progress, which I mean I would prefer they just left it the way it was. Like it's even in movies, it's like it's pretty beautiful to look at like the old Harlem.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. So there's like all this stuff that's like clearly for like taking selfies next to it and stuff, like next to like the old style like Harlem buildings and like businesses and stuff, or like there's like the classic like I don't know. I saw one thing that was it was like Unks. This is a perfect representation of it. It was like the place is called Unks, but it was like Unks green shakes and like it was like Jamba Juice kind of place, but it was like
that's it's always, that's one thing like I look forward to when I move back up north, but my mom's already like in a pissy mood because she's like, Shad is gonna be blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whatever, she's got to deal with it, Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, at least she'll be able to get out more.
And also too, Vasora's moving back into the city, so I might just live with her. So that'd be fun.
Yeah. He's bum your mom off on your sister.
Yeah. My sister expects me to like get a real job and all this shit. I'm like, I got a year to make it.
Make it big. That's right. You should subscribe to Cosmopolitics, twitch.tv/Cosmopolitics, and subscribe, send in all the subs you can so that Christina can save up for her big move.
I'm gonna have my Sex in the City moment. I just hope I don't bump into a guy that's like Sam Cedar chewing and then spitting out food. That was a funny moment. I was funny. One of my friends was like, wait a minute, why does this guy look so familiar? And I'm like, or so like his voice. I'm like, it's Sam Cedar from the Majority Report. They're like, oh, they're like, isn't he also Hugh? Isn't he also the health inspector from Bob's Burgers? I'm like, yep.
Yeah, he's well, it's funny too because when Cynthia Nixon ran, when she ran for governor against Cuomo,
yeah,
she ran for governor guy against Cuomo, she would go on Majority Report, and it was like a reunion of
yeah, I remember that. It's like, oh wow, is he wearing his Knicks hat? What's going on here? Like,
but I got thoughts on Trump and the Trump pulling resources from South Korea on the Korean Peninsula that was going into militarizing, because I think it's unquestionably a good thing. I think it was 4 days ago the newer president of South Korea.
Yeah, people were pissed and everyone's like, "This is a good thing he's doing." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a rare that he does something decent."
But the thing that was really like kind of upsetting about this is knowing in my mind that all of those resources are going to go fight Iran. Like, so they're going to take, like, I would like to see everything scaled down across the entire country. I would like to see all of our presence in all these places scaled down, and then I would like to see that that's it, like just scale down. So it's like the idea that it's that he's doing this, at least he's claiming, the pretense of it at least is that like they wouldn't help him with Iran, so now he doesn't think they deserve help on the border. So I feel like it's one of those more complicated situations.
I just got along with him very good. We had great meetings. We speak, and I think our nation, and I think other nations, frankly, whether it's Japan or South Korea, they're a lot safer if I'm president than if somebody else is president. Now, I didn't like the fact that we're doing these massive military exercises really against North Korea. It was an exercise against North Korea. When I'm friendly with him, I don't see anything happening for certainly 2.5 years. It's not going to happen with me. but I don't see anything happening. And I was not happy when South Korea said, no, they're not interested in helping us with the Hormuz Strait. And yet they get 60% of their oil from the Hormuz Strait. I said, would you like to help us? He said, no, thank you. I said, that's nice, please, thank you. He made us a lot of money. I didn't like that. So I felt that to do we were doing a massive war exercise. I thought that was very insulting to somebody that frankly has been, during my term at least, very well behaved. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but what?
I see, but it's directly sending those resources into Iran.
Yeah,
And, it's been kind of fascinating as this ramp up towards an Iran war has like really happened. Like number one, Ukraine, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the interceptor things, like they've all been taken out of Ukraine. That like clearly does actually like I don't think South Korea needs to have this militarized buildup on their border the way that they've been having it. I think that just swiping this stuff away and then like really fast and drawing down that way and not kind of working towards like an agreement to end this at the same time. Like, I don't think that that's the way to do it. I think the way to do it is obviously to have like peace talks and to try to settle, because it's been 76 years. How many more years of a war do they really need? But it's like Ukraine is kind of in the middle of it, and they're already taking away the interceptors and stuff like that to bring them to Iran, which nobody already like. It's already the most unpopular war at this period of it.
Because again, we're doing all this stuff because everyone's like, "What does Israel have to do with it?" I'm like, Israel's the reason why we're in Iran right now. Like that's why everyone's so hung up on AIPAC and Israel and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think both Netanyahu and Trump are kind of the they're both kind of the dog that caught the car, kind of the proverbial, because it's been over and over and over again. And I feel this way about like a lot of stuff Israel's been doing. It's like they never expected to get to this point. Like, I feel like when they started doing the genocide in Gaza, they kind of were at the point of like, all right, how far can we go with this? And that was obviously Biden, you know, at the time, but it's like they expected at some point to get reeled in. And what you classically do is then you say, you know, it's the stab in the back myth. You go, you know, we really, gloves off, we could have really defeated Hamas, which I don't think you ever can. Like, the more Palestinians you kill, the more Palestinians,
the ones that are going to get radicalized and want to, you know,
want to join an argument. So, you know, people were making that argument in real time at the time, you know, like people smarter than me. But it's like, in that situation, you've already kind of created that thing, but they acted like kind of the proverbial dog that caught the car. And I feel like in the same way, literally every president they posture about like, oh, if Iran does this or Iran does that, you know, we might have to have a war. But I don't think like every other president's been smart enough, even like George W. Bush, to be like, oh, you know, even as they like saber rattle about certain things, like you know, about like, you know, their what, like just a bunch, like whatever they don't like about Iran's, you know, whether there's their nuclear program or. See, now I talked about George W. Bush and I called it nuclear, like nuclear program, or just, you know, just the threat they pose, blah blah blah, to Israel. Like, they still keep distance enough from that plan because everybody agreed within the so-called deep state, like, you know, whether it's the FBI, whether it's the CIA, whether it's Army intelligence, they all have agreed the entire time, like, this is insane. You don't want to invade Iran, like. The ground invasion of Iran, especially because, you know, because it's right on the Strait of Hormuz, would be absolutely devastating. You'd have to, because they'd already have their, you know, they'd already have their people there. It's a mountainous country, like
Also, I remember. Do you remember that one Jason Jones segment, Field Piece for the Daily Show, where they kind of like were like, "Oh my God, we are like I'm a shoe's throw away from like the worst dictator in the world right now," or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, why do you hate Americans?" And these normal Iranians are like, "We don't hate. What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Well, a big thing is that, you know, for a while there, I mean, we definitely kind of ruined this, but before Trump got elected,
when have we not ruined anything? Like, I'm tired of people saying America is a force for good. War is good. I'm like, no, it's not. War turns men into beasts.
Two different time periods. One of them was Peshkian getting elected, you know, during Biden's term as like the more moderate choice in the Iranian election, because they do have elections, and you know, there's different like, obviously they don't elect the supreme Ayatollah. It's like the next guy dies, and then but they do have elections for the prime minister, and of course it's very who can run is very cut down as a list, but people voting is not. And so Peshkian getting elected kind of showed the kind of how tired like Iranians were with the regime, I guess, as such, and like the hardliners in the regime, which was not the case under George W. Bush. People forget like Ahmadinejad was a very was a popular figure.
And they didn't they have an interview with him or something like that on a Daily Show?
So they said, well, first of all, they said they killed him in the strikes, and it turned out not to be true. And he was supposed to come on Patrick Bet David. He was supposed to be valuetained the day after our Iranian strikes. He was going to go on Patrick Bet David, and Patrick Bet David was the one who released the information and said, this
is where he's at.
He was like, Ahmadinejad was supposed to come on. I think he was mending fences because he claims that people wanted him to be the new prime minister of Iran.
Who exactly? Vinny, the numbers guy?
No, but yeah, they've had Ahmadinejad.
Well, it's like when people people think Gorbachev was like this like big like dictatorial like Marxist whatever the fuck, but then he like softened on like towards social democracy towards the end of the Soviet Union, no less. What I'm like, oh man, but like they interviewed him because he was still alive for the longest time. Like they interviewed him again on the Daily Show as well. They're like, let's ask the man himself. He's still alive. He's still kicking it, and he seemed very chill and reasonable. And I'm like, why is this guy considered a threat again?
I don't know. Ahmadinejad was kind of nuts. He was.
Yeah, but Gorbachev, he seemed pretty normal.
So Gorbachev. Well, if you read like Vladislav Zubak's like Collapse of the Soviet Union, it's kind of clear that it was those reforms that kind of knocked over the Soviet Union, and it's like it's and how mishandled everything was when everyone's people like, oh, we can kind of get out of here. Yeah,
people who are social democracy ops win this one.
But there's I still every time I think of Gorbachev, I think of the Leslie Nielsen like in The Naked Gun where he goes like this, and then the spot goes off and he goes, I knew it.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching a video in a history class about like when they finally signed like that whole treaty like in whatever like for the Berlin Wall. Apparently that wasn't like even a real treaty or something like that. Like it was fake signatures or something like that. If I remember the documentary on that. If I remember, I was like, what? Wait, this is all fake? What?
But also, Bush popped about to the next Saddam Hussein. But then, like, the Bush administration ended up not pushing, like, war with, like, that's the one place, like, they had their hands full with Iraq and with, with Afghanistan and with just that whole region. And it's actually, Iran, like, actually helped them out with, like, the Bin Laden. Like, they didn't like Bin Laden either.
Everyone hated Bin Laden. That's what I don't understand. Saddam Hussein hated Bin Laden. Everyone hated it.
Including the Taliban. The Taliban was just like we talked.
Here he is. We know where he's at. We're sorry. We do not support what he did to y'all. That's terrible. Here he is. We'll help with the trial and everything. And George W. Bush was like, no war. And I'm like,
because he wanted to do Iraq the entire time.
I mean, when I find that out, I'm like, well, you mean to tell me that in October 2001, all this could have been prevented?
They did a really. I mean, I've quoted this. Like I quoted this last time we talked about it, but there was like there was the quote in Blowback where they did their season on Afghanistan where they're talking about they explained that Bin Laden was like the weird guy in the WeWork for the Taliban.
Yeah. We trained him.
The Soviet Union was such a geopolitical mistake in hindsight. The U.S. wasted all that money supporting terrorists against the Soviets only for us to get 9/11 years later. Yeah, that's the Blowback thing.
Yeah, Hassan Piker was right. Anyway.
But it's also funny that like there was nobody in the U.S. that was predicting that the Soviet Union was going to collapse. Like we didn't think that was going to be the outcome. I mean, as kind of everything's toppling and as like the kind of the drunken I guess corpse of the Soviet Union's like falling over. Like it took every single U.S. intelligence agency by surprise. Because we're like, and I think like rightly so in the sense of like they saw like people freaked out when the Soviet Union fell within like the defense space because they're like, okay, well, what are we gonna do now? Like everyone started talking about the peace dividend. And it's like they didn't want that. And it's like they thought they had like they thought they had like decades. The decades with can't wait. Which thing did
the 9/11 thing? I mean that was kind of the whole thing. The blowback. People didn't expect, but also too, they were warned, and they ignored. Even Clinton, before he was getting out of office, they're like, "Yo, we got bombed what's coming next? A plane. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know.
Well, they have the entire thing. I mean, you know, if you really want to get to like conspiracy theory territory, I mean, they had like the
money
entire,
missing, you know, all that shit.
The American Century Manifesto, where it's like it kind of perfectly described what was going to happen in terms of like what we needed, and what we needed was more enemies, and what we needed was, you know, these like wars in Iraq, wars in Afghanistan. What we needed was like, you know, we needed another enemy to fight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember because usually I always watch like the 9/11 documentaries like leading up to it. And the one security guy, Rick Rescorla, I think his name was, he was a security in Tower 2, I think. And when the bombing happened in 93, he was like, okay, we got to be ready because the next thing that's going to happen is an attack by plane. And he was right. And they were like, and the fact, what drove me insane is learning that, you know, the North Tower got hit. The South Tower was getting evacuated. And then they were told, oh, no, guys, it's fine. You know, go back to your cubicles. It's fine. Nothing. And then the second plane hits. And I'm like, listen, if the first building's getting hit, the second one will get hit too. Get out of there.
I feel like though you could also go insane on like every single thing that like had to go perfectly for the, you know, for the World Trade Center to happen. It's like, oh,
it was built poorly. People are like, oh, I'm like, it was built poorly in the 70s, guys. Come on.
But the two plane hijackers were literally trained by American pilots to fly planes, and it's like, you know, as just random like Saudi guys that were in the country, and they actually met with the CIA handler at one point to like have a conversation. Like, there's so many just layers to it that like it's almost, I don't know, like
Bin Laden's brother was hanging out with Bush.
Yeah, that day. And then he helped the Bin Ladens evacuate onto a plane.
Yeah, because people forget that he has like 5 million brothers and sisters, and he's got a bunch of kids too.
It feels obviously like the op, if you're gonna look at like something as an op, like is not the fact that 9/11 was fake. It's the fact that there are just so many clues and like, you know,
hints that was gonna happen.
But like just
or that he did it.
There's so many levels of stuff that you could say, like you could
almost denied it first.
But you could almost put it down as like an op to get people so insane about this, because the farther you go into it, the more clues include, like it all points in all these different directions, and it feels like almost like it's designed to make conspiracy theorists go insane.
Yeah. Like it's just, oh, you know, the jet fuel can't melt steel beams or whatever, and I'm like, guys, the like the fact that people don't understand that the Twin Towers were built so poorly. I'm like, when the first plane hit, it shifted the second tower a little bit because of how big the impact was. Like, I'm like, you know, no offense, but those towers, looking at them like, oh yeah, they definitely would have, like, you know, if something were to hit them, they would have gone down in a few hours.
This is still my favorite Nick Mullen bit.
Oh God.
But that was always so funny to me because it's like, what do you think happened, right? Like the fucking CIA was like, okay, plan's ready to go, ready to blow up the World Trade Center. There's only one step left. The clues. Yep. Yeah, it's clue time. It's time to get the clues out there. So we're going to have the Treasury team up with Mad Magazine to create a fold-in on the money.
The clues. But I don't know.
Clues.
Like, it's obviously not like, you know, but I mean, the conspiracy theory is I think that they knew about, like, they knew that something was going to happen, and everyone kind of, there was just so many different levels of intelligence failure.
Yeah. Like it's just crazy that, you know, people were like, hey, this could happen. They're like, whatever. And then it did happen. And George Bush was just sitting there like,
still reading,
like, oh fuck.
You still reading My Pet Goat?
Exactly. And everyone, because we couldn't, it was like, well, so we didn't know where he was for 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, he was trying to get Bin Laden's brother out of the country. What are you talking about?
Soviet Union caused defense to lose his job and go crazy involving him. I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's such a perfect mirror though to like October 7th.
Yeah, and they were like, you know, we got the Iron Dome, we're all good, but it's like, you know, after a while, Hamas is like, you know what? Let's see what we can do about this. You know, like they knew it was gonna happen.
They're just
they wanted it to happen. They wanted the final reason to just not give a fuck and just like just never stop doing what they're doing in Gaza.
I just like the idea that they're like, we have Iron Dome, and then the Hamas is like, we have hang gliders, and they're like, oh fuck, there's no you can't stop a hang glider.
Trump wants a gold dome around the. I'm like, yes, that'll definitely protect us from whatever the hell.
We're building the Golden Dome.
It's
gonna be like the most expensive. That is such a good project for graft, though.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we're gonna
focus down instead of the destroying the White House. Just focus on the Golden Dome.
The thing that really works in our thing is like we're surrounded, like we have a body of water that protects us from the rest of the world. That's really American protection. We don't really need a dome.
Yeah.
We lit it because the whole thing is that we've given we've given missile interceptors and nukes and just everything to across Europe. Like that is our line of defense. Our line of defense is not our line of defense is not anything to do with like a dome. It's the fact that we're surrounded, like there's just what, like you could see something. I mean, I'm not saying like literally.
That's why castles have boats.
But like you can track something coming towards us, and it's not like a missile's flying towards the United States, and it's like if we were next to a bunch of other countries. Yeah. The only way they can have it is if if you have like jihadists take over Canada, and then it'll be a lot easier.
Well, that was the fear about Ebola when Obama was in office, that they thought that ISIS was going to cross the border to bring Ebola into America. And I'm like, how the fuck is ISIS going to get from Africa to Central, whatever? But it was just the funniest thing. And I'm like, isn't that adorable though? Them carrying baby Ebolas across the border. That'd be adorable.
But like one of the crazier parts about that is the last country, and this takes us back to exactly the situation that we were just talking about with the demilitarized zone. But one of the last countries, I mean, I'm not saying the last, but like one of the many last countries to like really be proven to use these biological weapons in war like that, right? It's us dropping we worked with 731 or whatever the unit of the Japanese military that we had just defeated in World War II, and we were dropping chicken feathers with all kinds of like diseases down onto North Korea.
Yeah. Yay.
And then we also sold our biological weapon stashes, a whole bunch of them, to both to Assad and then to Saddam Hussein.
It's just so funny how we create enemies out of allies over like something stupid. Bad vibes or whatever the hell. They didn't do what we wanted them to do, and bada bing, bada boom.
You can literally track the reason that we had the claims about WMDs in Iraq is that
you had like VHS tapes. We had the returns of videotapes.
We had claims of WMDs in Iraq is that we had given stashes of biological, chemical, and different kinds of weapons. Of course, that's not really what they implied, like the yellow cake uranium and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that wasn't necessarily our doing, but it was our doing that like we were handing all kind, like whatever Saddam wanted in the Iran-Iraq war, and then we were handing whatever Iran wanted because we wanted them to fight Saddam. So we like both sides literally we wanted to fight each other to a stalemate, and it's like then we wonder why everyone in the Middle East hates us.
Yeah.
WMD's nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why but even with hypersonic missiles though, like we have missile interceptors, and you still have to go over the European countries where we have missile interceptors.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that like we have the perfect line of defense, because our line of defense stretches through a continent. That anybody that's trying to get us from that side, of course.
Imagine Pangea. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if the continents did not break apart. We'd be fucked.
If we if we pissed off like Japan again, maybe they don't have an army anymore. Well, they're trying to build one again. But if we piss off like Japan,
oh no.
That's the way of countries that I mean, it's all sea, but it's like that's the way of countries where it's like you could probably send something over that way because there is no Europe on that side. But then it would hit California, and it's like we'll be all right.
Yeah, California's already going on. My mom's like, "Oh, California's already drifting apart from the rest of the." I'm like, "That's not no."
We already have
like,
49 states.
Florida has more of a chance to be underwater in 5 years than California breaking off from the rest of the country.
I mean, I guess you could do it over the North Pole, but we gotta
protect Santa.
We still have like we have a big line of a lot of defense on that side, like the Arctic. We have a huge thing of the Arctic zones up there. That's like where a lot of the defense is. Of course, that's also why Trump wants to seize Greenland. Part of the reason, not all the reason, but
yeah, because Greenland has all the ice and Iceland has all the green because the Vikings did that.
I like the idea of an ISIS. It's just
ISIS in Iceland, Greenland.
It's like a bunch of radicalized like Inuit people from like that don't want, because of course like we would be impinging on their territory. So I would take the Inuit ISIS.
I'm just gonna take that spa with the lake and the nice clay that everyone likes to go to. In Reykjavik or something like that? Is that nice? Yeah. I'll be like, I just want to
Reykjavik.
I want to go there and keep that. That's
you know why? Do you know how I know that that's the capital of Iceland? Because
Craig Ferguson, I know we started his questions with that.
Well, they've been doing a huge push to get people to stop in Iceland so they can sell them stuff when you take a plane to Europe. So when I was trying to plan my trip back in the spring, one of the big like airlines is Icelandic Air, and they're like, all you have to do is take a stop in Reykjavik for a weekend.
Reykjavik. Iceland is in Northern Ireland. I think its capital city is Reykjavik.
People who have been there like always say though that it's really expensive if you go there.
My sister went there and she loved it. That's because she went to like that nice spa with the water and the clay that's good for your skin and all that.
There's a lot of those. There's like a lot of their business is tourism.
Yeah, doing the fun stuff. And you know, my sister got me like a little of the volcanic clay or whatever. And I'm like, oh, nice. Cool. Thanks. I'll use this up in a week. Can't compare it to actually experiencing the nice water and whatever. I remember that being featured in Hostel 2, Hostel Part 2. I remember watching that. I was like, what the hell? Then I'm like, ooh, pretty.
Nice. Yeah, they had they literally like the president of South Korea was like because I feel like there's a through line through our conversation, was saying the other day that they're trying to set up a peace treaty with North Korea and so it's like Trump tried to do his big move where he's like, oh, because they won't join us, we'll scale down on defense. And it's like, I don't know, they have a liberal president right now.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, because then the other one get
well, they swing wildly between having
like someone who wants to implement martial law to like.
Yeah, well, it's not even. No, they have like a. See, they used to have that with a Park or whatever. They're like it was like their dictator for like the longest time, and then one of their dictators just got like murked by one of their intelligence agents at one point. I forget which one it was, but the guy. There's this crazy story. It's in the 80s. I'm pretty sure, like when their big democracy protests were about to explode, and Park, who was like their president at the time, like, you know, dictator president, was he got really drunk with like this intelligence guy, and they got into an argument, and no one could ever tell how much of this was planned out in advance and how much literally was just this guy getting really upset at the dictator and just decided to ice him. But they got really they had like this, people heard like this screaming match between them, and the next day no one could find like the prime minister, and he was just he got
mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh
that doesn't happen enough, I think, in the world. Like, I'm not advocating for anyone in particular, but like, you would think throughout history there would be more of these moments where somebody who's very high up, like interior secretary, you know, someone who has like a giant post in an administration, like you would think that those kinds of people would more often freak out on somebody and impulsively do it rather than like these kind of elaborate coups. But maybe they're only elaborate coups in the in retrospect.
Yeah,
just because you get to write your own autobiography or whatever and go, I did it for all these reasons, and like, I don't know, maybe they didn't, but who knows? That maybe is that am I inventing a different kind of conspiracy where it's like
maybe you're conspiracy into a conspiracy.
This version of a conspiracy is that
conspiraception.
This version of a conspiracy is that there was no conspiracy.
Yeah, that's usually that's usually sometimes what it ends up.
Well, in America, it always is. When like
MK Ultra really happened.
In America, it's always there was no conspiracy, and it was just like an individual person deciding to kind of take this enterprise up on their own.
Or which like it happened, but not the way people thought. Like, oh, you know, the QAnon, you know, children getting trafficked. I'm like, yeah, they are, but you know, Epstein's associates, but y'all don't want to pay. You blame Democrats for some reason. Like, you know, it's like, oh, you know.
Josh.
Yeah. Go watch some movies.
But like, I don't know. So like, I feel like in other countries, when they hear about something, it's always this elaborate plan, and like the military was in on it.
It's more simpler than that, you know.
Yeah, but there's always like the interior secretary was in on it, because that's like the post you always really want. You want to be like the interior minister. So like the interior minister was in on it. The like the military was in on it, and they all come together and like overthrow this person. But in America, like every single time it's been except for like I guess Lincoln, it's always like this because Lincoln really was, I mean, they couldn't really deny that was a conspiracy because a bunch of them happened kind of around the same time, except that one guy. I fucked with that one guy who was supposed to kill Andrew Johnson, but he at the last minute he lost his nerve, which I mean I wish he should have, but like I do think it's really funny to think of a guy that like because John Wilkes Booth was supposed to kill Lincoln, and then he was also supposed to kill Grant, and he actually chased Grant, but Grant happened to get away. That same day, and he said that like he saw him, he was riding on his horse with his dark eyes, and he was like he actually pulled up next to the Grant's stagecoach that they were getting away on and like looked at them, and they were like, this guy is very sinister, and they didn't realize that was the night that Lincoln got assassinated, and it was part of like this 5-person plan. But there was this other guy that didn't speak English very well. I can't remember if he was German or if he was Polish, or he was like from a European country. He didn't speak English very well, but was a Confederate sympathizer, and he was supposed to kill Andrew Johnson, which I think everyone would have been happier if he did, but, but at the last minute he got too drunk and he just went and he wandered out and just couldn't do it.
Yeah, if I had gotten too drunk, I probably wouldn't be able to, it'd be like, you missed? How'd you miss? It was 3 feet in front of you. Famous Mushu line from Milan. Every time there's an attempt on Trump's live, it's always the Mushu thing. You missed? How could you have missed?
But it was like this elaborate I think it was a 5-person conspiracy, which we don't talk enough about how insane the fact that it was John Wilkes Booth was. Like
an actor.
But his brother was the most famous actor in the country.
Yeah. He was the fail son.
So, well, he was he was also an actor, but he was like slightly less famous. But his brother also saved Robert Lincoln, Lincoln's oldest son, the only one that really survived until like full adulthood. Robert Lincoln slipped, and he ended up becoming like a Secretary of State, I want to say. But he slipped on a train and almost fell through onto the tracks. And someone pulled him up. It was Edwin Booth, John Wilkes Booth's brother. But John Wilkes Booth's brother Edwin was like, his father, their father was like a really famous actor.
Yep.
Like one of the most famous.
It's kind of like a Barrymore situation.
Yeah, but it's crazy to think of a version of that. Of course, I think today's version of that, they'd be like, all right, we need to find some poor kid to take the place. Like we can't let
Yeah.
or it's imagine if it's like I don't know, like Owen Wilson's brother, like Luke Wilson is the guy.
Yeah, but there's also there's 3 of those. There's 3 Wilson brothers, believe it or not.
But
Owen and Luke look the most alike, but there's always 3 brothers, and the one looks nothing like the others. It's like the the Lawrence brothers.
Casey Affleck. If Casey Affleck killed the president, and then like we had to hear from Ben Affleck after that, and he was like, I didn't know. Yeah,
I don't mind though, because he's very much pro. He's anti.
And not Andrew Wilson.
I think there is an Andrew Wilson though. I feel.
Oh wait, that Andrew Wilson. He's like, and then
he'll debate Charlie again.
Yeah, the youngest brothers debating Candace Owens and can't open the jar of pickles. And he's trying to open the jar of pickles. He's really trying hard, and Owens is like, wow. Wow, you can't open it, bro. Wow, you can't open the pickles.
Wow. You have to do like the nose, like it was that one woman who was on SNL for like a minute, like who went viral on Vine for doing the Owen Wilson, wow, you did like the face.
You can't open the pickles. Hey, come over here, Ben Stiller. You can't open the pickles. And Ben Stiller's like, in Zoolander makeup. Wow, can't open the pickles.
And his brother and Luke's just like, what is happening? Because he seems like the most normal. Like, if some people forget that they're actually brothers because they're so different when it comes to like the roles that they do.
Well, you can pick up on like there's a thing
resemblance.
There's like a thing that Luke Wilson does sometimes where you can really tell like he does
the thing. He does like the face, like,
and he cocks his head kind of sideways, and like you can tell in those moments that Luke Wilson is almost.
I'm like, okay, they're brothers. They're related. there's certain things that that are familiar traits that siblings and relatives do. It's just so funny. It's like, oh yeah, you can tell.
I just can't stop imagining.
It's like Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson is like, oh yeah, they definitely come from like the same tree branch of some
I
sort.
I just can't get over just imagining that Andrew
All right.
the youngest brother of just the youngest brother of
Well, there's 3 Franco brothers, believe it or not. It's just not James and Dave, but there's another one. I think who's the oldest, and I'm like, and he looks nothing like the others. And it's like there's always the 3rd sibling that looks nothing like the other 2.
It's probably good. Dave Franco, you know, I didn't realize this until kind of recently when I was like looking back at the stuff around James Franco. Dave Franco cut off his brother.
Yeah, good for him.
Like at the same time Seth Rogen did.
Yeah, people don't question him though.
Yeah,
why'd you cut off your brother?
I don't know. I just can't stop mentioning the pickle jar, and then no one's going, "Wow, you just can't open that pickle jar."
Remember when there was like that rumor about Hillary Clinton having Parkinson's, and she had to prove that she didn't by opening a pickle jar on Jimmy Kimmel?
Well,
like, no rumor husband here.
Because that was when
she like collapsed from heat exhaustion or something like that. And she wasn't even doing that many rallies. I mean, if anyone should have collapsed, it should have been Bernie.
I think it was like on 9/11 too, if I remember.
Oh God.
And then she was supposed to come out and do some rally, or she was supposed to come out and do some speech, and then she collapsed, and then everyone was like, "Wow, she has Parkinson's." But she had a few, like, she had these weird gaffe moments on the campaign trail where she like spazzed out or something for a second, and then everyone was saying, you know, based on that, I think. But that like the biggest one was obviously her collapsing, and then she had to appear like 2 hours later and be like, I'm fine.
Yeah, she was in South Carolina. She's like, I'm fine. I mean, again, she adapting the accent.
Everyone goes, "Oh, look, it's Hillary Clinton," and she's like, "Pokemon, go to the polls. I see this Hillary Clinton. She's clearly her."
Yeah,
and she's
just
fine.
Got even bolder. Anyway,
that was like a crazy time too, because it's like I feel like even in 2016 politicians, they're still like they were not ready for like Trump's level of engagement with social media. It was still just, it was like the awkwardness of social media still, and so like they thought like, oh, if I just type out "I'm fine, thanks for the concern," everyone will be like, oh, she's fine. It's clearly her typing.
And people are like, "Ow."
It's a little work. Yeah. I do like all the AI the AI Mitch McConnell pictures.
Yeah, because they really don't want Thomas Massey to take that seat. They really don't.
They just come out with like a new AI picture every week, and then like I feel like a lot of people
getting more paid vacation than like anyone ever.
I feel like a lot of people still on Twitter haven't reckoned with the fact that, like, a lot of the conservative, just a lot of the conservative accounts on there are just like, you know, apparatchiks essentially. They're like people within the Republican Party ecosystem and media, you know, culture and everything. I think people still deny that and think that those people are like independent or whatever. But they'll say something like, you know, they'll do the Scott Jennings, like, just talked to Mitch McConnell for 15 minutes and he was fine. Yeah. And then it's like people are like,
like, we cannot confirm that he did after he talked to him.
Yeah, but then on the other side, right, like, people are like, well, he says he did, so how could he prove he did? And it's like, I don't know. It just gets to this point of like, who do you trust? And it feels like I feel like the Republicans have been very good at building this situation where like clear lies
can be trusted by like their base. Yeah,
the dumbest people in the world.
Yes, like my uncle.
But it's like, you know, a lot of the fact checking kind of stuff falls apart in the face of just like, well, prove that didn't happen, and then it's like, well, I guess you can't prove it. Like, it's hard to prove a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's like kind of impossible. So I feel like I guess the last thing, the media bias chart came out saying that feels like such a relic of like 2016 to 2019 culture. Like just having like the media bias chart, which was always flawed in general, but it feels like we've gone so far past like the truth Rubicon. Which is like, I want to start saying truth Rubicon as like an InfoWars style phrase. We've gone so far past the truth Rubicon.
R.I.P. to Tim Heidecker. It's great that InfoWars is continuing to honor his legacy despite him being dead.
By killing Tim Heidecker. But yeah, I think we can end it there. We're on break for movie night, but you know, we should still be checking in with Absurdity Space. That should still work. So see you guys over there.
Mm-hmm.